everyone, Sophia here for my great challenge. Welcome back to another episode of Anyone Can Quilt. Today I am super excited because we are starting our first quilt along, and I picked a pattern. We are making a fall table runner from beginning till the end, and you're gonna need hopefully you follow directions in case you're having a hard time. I picked a pattern from this magazine. This is the Quilter's World Autumn Quilting, and we are making, let me find it, we're making this table runner here with maple leaves. And today I'll show you close-ups, don't worry. Today I'm going to show you how to make the actual maple leaves. So I made 3 so far. I'm gonna make another 2 during the week because we need 5, and I gotta go upstairs and have dinner. So I have 3, and I'm gonna show you how to make this. I think this is gonna be really cute for the holidays. I'm changing the colors compared to what they have on the pattern in the magazine. Theirs is more of a wintry color. It's got like this, it's called Blowing in the Wind. So it's got more of a grayish kind of cool tone. I'm doing mine for my Thanksgiving table, so it's gonna have more of the Thanksgiving colors. See, I have the purple and the green and the yellows, and the entire background is going to be a mosaic of different shades of yellow and orange. So that's that. Stay tuned. Let's find out how to make these beautiful maple leaves, and I'll see you at the end. So let's get started. This is from Autumn Quilting from the November issue, and you can still find it at Barnes & Nobles. I just saw it today. And this is a wall quilt, or a wall hanging quilt, which I'm going to make actually as a table runner, but I'm changing the colors. So if you want to do these colors, that's fine, but I'm doing colors that are a little bit different. I'm going to do it all in autumn colors. I went to Tuesday morning, and for $5.99 I found 2 packs of fat quarters in fall colors. So I just want to make sure that you know what I'm talking about here. So all of these here are 9 patch, and that's what we're going to be making next week. All right, so these colors here for me are going to be all of these colors, not the deep orange. Okay, and then the leaves here, the maple leaves, they have them in a variety of red and oranges and some more orange and green. And what I'm doing, and I just made one for practice before I show you how to make these, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to use fabric that I found at Joann that has different pattern on it, and it goes from green all the way to brown. So we're going to use that. So what we're going to do today is just basically making 5 of those. So this is my first one, and I'm going to show you how to do these. You see how I have different colors here, because I'm going to do all of this area here the way they have it, which is, I'm trying to show you different colors. You see how they have blues and grays, and they have some beige and white. All right, mine are going to be a variety of yellows, which are the ones that are here. So you can see here that where the stem is, this is a bright orange. These are light yellow, more like a melted butter, like the one I used last week. And then this is more of an orangey color. The next one I'm going to do, it's probably going to be the same thing, because what's going to happen is that this is going to be surrounded by 9 patch, which is basically 9 squares like these on a 6x6 block, but they're going to be different variation of these colors. So what you want to do is make sure that no, let's say you have melted butter, no melted butter ends up here, and no light orange ends up here. Doesn't matter what you have here, so you have to mix them, but we'll figure it out next week. So I'm going to do exactly the same thing than this. I'm going to show you what you need. I'm just going to start by cutting on this fabric here, and this time I'm going to take the I took the green, so we're going to take the side that's got a little bit more orange. Let me go this way. All right, so I want to do 2 squares. There are 2 7/8 by 2 7/8, and these are going to be for half square triangles. Now if you remember, we've learned how to do half square triangle in all of the videos that preceded this one, so we all know how to do it by now, right? But I'm still gonna mess that up. I'm still gonna show you again, just in case this is your first time. So again, we're doing squares that are 2 7/8 by 2 7/8. I need 2 of those. And that's going to be for half square triangles. Then for the squares that are here, this one, and this one, I just need 2.5 by 2.5. So I need 3 squares that are 2.5 by 2.5. Okay, so remember we need 3 squares that are 2.5 by 2.5. So I know I have 1 here, 2, and then 1, 2, and 3. So we're going to go up to here. Take your time when you cut. You don't want to make mistakes. Accuracy is very important in quilting, otherwise you get a crooked block, and a crooked block leads to a crooked row, and a crooked block leads to a crooked row, and then a crooked quilt. Okay, so to recap, we have 2 squares. That's the maple leaf, the actual design for the maple leaf. We have 2 squares that are 2 7/8 by 2 7/8, and we have 3 squares that are 2.5 by 2.5. All right, now the stem right here, we're gonna cut one more that's 2.5 by 2.5, and I'll show you how to do the stem. It's pretty easy. It just takes a couple of steps. Okay. All right, so that's for the stem. We don't need this anymore. Now I'm going to take some of that orange color, and for this one, the half square triangles, I've done them with a light yellow. For this one, I'm going to do it in this orangey color. So remember, these are the squares that are supposed to match those that are 2 7/8. So I need 2 squares that are 2 7/8. Okay, so let me show you again where they go. All right, so remember I have 2 that are 2 by 7/8, and 2 here that 2 by 7/8. Okay, well, those are going to create these half square triangles that go here. So now all we're missing is the square that goes there, and that one I'm going to do it in a lighter yellow, and that one needs to be 2.5 by 2.5. Okay, so that's the corner square that's gonna go right here. So now how do we do this right here? All right, easy. Let's cut 2 more square that are 2.5 by 2.5. So basically you need 3 in that same color, unless you want to change the color for the stem. The stem, I'm gonna do the same color that's opposite this time around. You can mix and match, doesn't matter. As long as you're doing one of the background colors, you're fine. Okay, so let's go over it again. Make sure we got all our squares together. So to make a maple leaf, you need 2 squares in your maple leaf color. That's going to be 2 by 7/8 square. Okay. And then you need 2 matching in a background color, preferably a plain color or very light design. Okay, then you need 4 squares that are 2.5 by 2.5 in your maple leaf pattern, and then you need 3 squares in a different background color that's 2.5 by 2.5. So let's start by making the half square triangle, which we've done many times, but I'm just going to recap just in case it's the first time that you watch my channel and my videos. So you basically take the two squares, there are 2 by 7/8, and you put them right side to right side, and you're going to draw a line right there in the middle. And you're going to your machine and you're going to sew at 1/4 of an inch from that line on either side. So you're going to have a straight stitch line here and a straight stitch line there. Okay, so let me do that for the other one. Let me take some of that fraying fabric out of the way. Just make sure you align them properly. Okay. So a straight line with your sewing at 1/4 of an inch from the pencil mark on both sides. So you're gonna end up having 2 lines. All right, I'll be right back. Let me do that, and then I'll show you what it gives you. Basically, we're gonna end up with 4 half square triangles. So here we are. I have 2 sewing mark on both sides. I'm gonna go ahead and cut right where I have my pencil line. Separate those 2. Separate those 2. And I end up with 4 half square triangle. And these half square triangles are going to be the ones that go here, 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 and here. So let me go press them. And as always, we press towards the dark side. So you just go like this with the dark side against the dark side, because if you go this way, then you're gonna see, I don't know if you can tell, but you're gonna see through the your 1/4 inch seam is gonna be showing underneath. I don't know if I can show you. I don't know if you see it. Do you see it? All right, so if I go this way instead, you don't see it. All right, so let me do what I got to do here, which is press them. I remove the dog ears and we'll be ready to do the stem, because that's the only thing that we need to work on at this point. After that, it's just assembly. So for the stem, you need 1 2.5 by 2.5 in your maple leaf pattern, and 2 2.5 by 2.5 in one of your background colors. Okay, here they are, they pressed. I'm just going to remove my dog ears. So now you remember how we started with squares that were 2 7/8 by 2 7/8? But once you make your half square triangle, guess what? They become 2.5 by 2.5. So they're going to match whatever other square you've made, okay? So let's put those to the side. I'm going to show you how to create the stem. So for the stem, you take the right side up, you place one of you 2.5 by 2.5, you put it this way, right? And this is what you're going to do, because it's a little bit different. All right, I'm going to do something that's called snowballing. So you're going to put a mark right here at the half, right? And then you're going to make another mark that's 1/4 of an inch from that, right here. And you're going to sew directly onto this second line that you created right here. So let me do that and I'll be right back. So here it is. So it's basically almost like if you were doing a half square triangle, the only difference that you're not doing the second sewing mark here. You see where I have my sewing mark? All right, this is where I did my straight stitch. Now I'm going to go 1/4 of an inch from that, and I'm going to draw a line here. You don't really have to. You can go ahead with your rotary cutter. Cannot pronounce it properly, and you're just going to cut that off. All right, and then you're taking your square and you're going to flip it over this way. All right, and what we're going to do is press it with the iron. All right, so I just did that, and now we're going to recreate a square. So remember, a square is 2.5 by 2.5. Okay, and we're gonna just cut off the excess here and here. All right, so we got that. And guess what we're gonna do? We're gonna do exactly the same thing on the other side. You take another one of your square that's 2.5 by 2.5. You place it right here over this one. Make sure that the part that we just created here, that little ear, that snowball it's called, that little ear is flat and creates the square. You don't want it to go back underneath, all right? It's got to be this way. So you put this here, and then you're going to do the same thing. You draw a line halfway through from corner to corner, right? Do it this way, it's easier for me. And I'm going to draw another one at 1/4 of an inch. You don't have to, you can just go ahead and sew at 1/4 of an inch, okay? And you do the same thing. Now remember, this is the side you don't sew on, alright? Because that's the one where we just created that little yellow corner. So we're on the side that doesn't have that, okay? And you're just going to create a sewing line right here at 1/4 of an inch from where you drew your pencil mark. So I'll be right back. Let me do that. Right, so here it is. And we're doing the same thing. We're going to go out 1/4 of an inch from that stitch line. We're going to cut that off and flip this over. Ah, you see what we got now? Okay, so now you do the same thing. We're going to press it. Right, and we're going to do exactly the same thing we did before. We're going to square that off at 2.5 by 2.5. There we go. All right, so we have a 2.5 by 2.5 square, and that's going to be the stem. So now how do you assemble your maple leaf? All right, so we have one square, 2.5 by 2.5 in your background color. You're going to take one of your half square triangle. It's going to go right here. You're taking another half square triangle. It's going right here. The bottom, the middle row right here, we have another half square triangle. This one is going to go this way. Notice how everything is 2.5 by 2.5 now. In the middle, we're going to use one that is a full square, and I'm going to place it this way. All right, and then here we're doing the same thing. So now I'm positioning it so that the fabric doesn't match. I don't really want the fabric to match. Yeah, that's gonna be good. Okay, and then here we have another half square triangle. Right here we have one of those full 2.5 by 2.5, and then right here is where the stem is going to go. So like we did with every other blocks we've done in the past, we're going to start with the top row, we'll do the middle row and the bottom row, and then we'll assemble it. So you take this one and you're going to sew it right here at 1/4 of an inch seam. Then you'll take this one and you'll sew it right here at 1/4 of an inch seam. You repeat the process here. You take this one, 1/4 of an inch seam, then this one at 1/4 of an inch seam, and you do the same thing here, 1 and 2 at 1/4 of an inch seam. And I'll come back once that's done, and then we'll do the 3 rows and join them to make a maple leaf. So here we go, we have 3 bands now, and same thing that we always do. We're going to take the top row. I've already pressed them, by the way, and here I have pressed it with the seams open. The one in the middle, I pressed it with the seams going towards each other, and the one at the bottom, I pressed it with the seam going on the outside, and that allows you to create strength for your block. All right, so the only thing you need to be concerned now is, do the seams match? Yes, they do, right here and here. So you want to place this one on top like this, and you're going to do the same thing that we always do when we create a block. We're going to make sure that the seams are matching. So you align it here. Don't worry about the edges, because we can always resize, trim, square off, you know, whatnot. So you want to make sure that these match. So this one, you make sure the seams are matching, and it goes at 1/4 inch seam. Once you have this sewn to this one, you then add this one here at the bottom this way at 1/4 inch seam along this side. Just again, make sure the seams are matching. All right, so let me do this. I'll be right back, and I'll press it, and we'll have 2 of those maple leaf. And here we go. Here's our maple leaf, and this is the one I did before. So we now have 2, and guess what, you guys? We need 5. All right, so you see how I'm varying or choosing different background colors. All right, so it gives you an idea of what the 9 patch is going to look like once we do the whole background next week. You're getting a variety of kind of like the same tone. All right, so let me do another one, and then this one I'm going to pick more into the purple and violet colors, just to give it a little bit more variety. So I'll do that, and then during the week I'll finish the missing 2. Okay, so I just want to show you what it would look like if you were doing it with more of a pink pattern. Now if you wanted to, you could also use something like this, one of those fabric that has a little bit more of a pattern on it, or you could use a fabric that is more modern. You could use something like this, right, to do your maple leaf. Whatever you fancy, it doesn't really matter, as long as it somewhat matches with one another, so you don't have something that just stands out so much that's all you see on your quilt. Okay, so let me do a third one. I'll be right back, and then I'll say goodbye, and then next week when I come back I'll have all 5 of them done. Hopefully you will too, and then we can start doing the 9 patch, which is really easy. It's a bunch of squares together, but they're just different colors, and we'll need 12 of those. So that's it. That's how to make the maple leaf. So remember, we're making 5 of those, okay? And all we need to do after that is the background, and it's basically nothing but 2.5 by 2.5 inch square in the colors that you're choosing in the background, and we need a multitude of them, and we're gonna need to make 12 blocks like that, but we're not there yet. Okay, so I'll see you next week. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Don't forget to subscribe right here if you're brand new, and I will see you later. Thanks for watching, you guys. Bye.